We can do a lot.
We change in the world. Пущино — это Наукоград.
Dear friends, this is Pushchino.
А вот, по-моему, Василий Васильевич.
Former Naukograd, the Science City.
Ну точно, признаю. Вот Василий Васильевич Шкондин, дорогие друзья. Василий Васильевич. Здравствуйте.
Добрый день.
Работает съемки кино.
Filming is on.
Хроника.
Documentary Chronicles.
Ну, представьтесь, пожалуйста.
Меня зовут Андрей.
Nice to meet you. My pleasure.
Алексей.
This is a Central Science Avenue. Next the Institute Street. There are 9 research institutes in one row. Institute of Microbiology, Photosynthesis, Institute of Biophysics, Institute of Bioorganic Chemistry. Academic Ovchinnikov, rest in peace, built this institute. You know, now Academy of Sciences in such a trouble. Rises a question of reduction, reformation of science, and many not waiting for some decisions, already gone to America, France, Germany, advanced scientists.
Василий Васильевич, а вот ответьте, вы почему не уехали? У вас же наверняка...
And why you didn't left, you surely been asked. Yes, I have an official invitation. Just a month ago, U.S. Navy in Los Angeles invites you for a demonstration. Clearly, I would have stayed there. They seen this information. General Motors tested my motor. I will show you the official papers. And they made the decision to buy this invention. This patent, one of 5 patents. The asymmetric pulse motor. So happened. Not jingoistic patriotism played a role here, but already a habit. I've been working here for many years. And then the guys will consider it as a betrayal. I crystallized 9-10 people. About 40 been fired. And not because of something like my moodiness. But they just don't want to comprehend this new technology. Why fired the mostly good specialists? They are soaked with the traditional. You fired them. Yes, had to. Well, they understood themselves. They not pulling the load. And when we had to part, we talked about everything openly, honestly. Guys, 2 years have passed. No progress. On the contrary, in such darkness and haze they led with their ideas, theories. This is usually the representatives of the traditional classical electromechanical engineering. This type is asynchronous motor with squirrel cage rotor. There are only 3-4 types. And everyone was trying to fit my motor to a classic connection, a Y, delta. As taught in institute. And by the way, the higher institution in its importance, the more problems I had. Immediately aroused issues, excesses, that you are, the journalist. You should listen to us, not we to you.
Вы журналист?
You are a journalist. Well, Yes, I graduated the Faculty of Journalism MGU, Moscow State University. Worked until retirement. Chief editor in the end. Chief editor of Soviet Canadian Publishing in Gorky Street, just before retirement. And then when I got the patent, just at that moment I got a patent and I realized, now my second youth begins. Now I'll start working. Because this was an innovations, the world's first motor wheel. I received patents in 26 countries. And I started right away, as director of Msov Invest, U.S. Soviet enterprise, and I, as CEO, been rolling around all countries of the world, now with my own designs. Yesterday been here my new patrons. Well, I'm glad to this circumstance. That's the tank factory. Or what is it? Well, one that T90 produces. Where they from? Nizhny Tagil, UralCarFactory. Very nice guys. Everything okay. They know all my problems. They know that I broke up with the Americans and the British. That now working liquidation committee, and all in my favor, but they are. Nevertheless, do not wait for the ending, for decisions of this liquidation committee. We are creating a company. Yesterday signed the papers, and forward. Keeping my troops, which I've been picking up for so long. And practically now we will begin immediately with the production, immediately. From the first days we will start with production of bicycles, scooters, motorcycles, two-seat electric cars. In cooperation with the British company, led to the fact that the only one plant, Indian plant Avon Cycles, manufactures my bike. It calls people's bike, and that's it. And now production of this bike continues. And how can you explain that you're such a brilliant thing, and not implement it into production? Is this a conspiracy, or what is it? It's not a conspiracy, it's simply, do not take it as a bragging, profitable thing. Here, the motor wheel, no analogs, one in all worldwide showrooms, 7 gold medals, the Grand Prix. Man of the Year in Belgium. And why even manufacture any products of that clown? What they do, they put me on the show, and resell. I've been 3 times resold, last time $180 million. This is a Friedman's team, Alpha Group. Alpha Group, Russian technology. I looked, it nowhere near Russian technologies. And when they together with the British snatched from me these inventions, they immediately began to resell them. This is the buy-sell guys. Although I was assured that I'll immediately start production, prepare work documentation, samples by which we will begin, they practically lied to me. They resold me to the Indians. I'm not receiving a penny. Avon Cycles now produces it, and in considerable numbers. I do not getting anything, because they somehow made the papers. So it already belongs to them. So I had to create 6 new patents, new developments, to put it in front of General Motors. They had once been giving $90 million, just for this one design. Been here our former Soviet, now American, Boris Savitsky. I have a contract with him. The agreement, this is the closest friend of Leo Valyanovich Lashenko. He has in Krakshino 2 houses, his own plant, and he asked me for a bicycle. I'm okay. I trust you. He puts it in front of General Motors. In 2 weeks he's here. I was so surprised. A billionaire? It suddenly came. He says, how much do you think for this specific design? I see, such an enthusiastic faces. Well, perhaps 10 million. You don't want 90. With this bargaining we'll start. That is, here are the things. Again buy sell. That does not suit me. And what leadership of our country, governors, mayors, they have very positive attitude towards it. For example, last Crocus City. Here photograph with me in Shegu. He is very interested in this invention. And we already made the motor. I can demonstrate it today, for the airplane. Oh. And we have come for this, a helicopter, a plane, yes. People from Jaroslav been here. Mr. Shoemaker, this is a cool inventor. Now they show him on TV, as he taking off with just a little motor and such a small hang glider. Delta wings. This is connection between homes, where there are no roads, especially for our country. It's very good. And Urban Victor Vitalievich, he and I discussed. He looked at my small dimension motors and decided with the engineer that we will make it together. Of course, my efficiency 90 to 92%. Finally, the energy use is much less in my motors. Here this bicycle, I just finished it. Just the other day. Yesterday I showed it to my new colleagues. Tested it on the bench. 100 kilometers per hour or 62 miles per hour. Only 4 batteries, 100 to 108 kilometers. Speed, yes, speed. Helmet would be necessary. Is it adjustable? Of course. That handle regulates the speed. Everything as it should. Now we'll just add electronics. Test on the bench. Very good. Why am I doing this? Obviously this is not a bicycle motor. But for me it's just cheaper. More convenient. It's like a module. I choose a sturdy bike, mountain bike. That there were no incidents, and we rent in at Kralotsko to carry out tests. Because needed the perfectly flat surface to determine the travel distance. Well, this is not cheap. 2,000 in 1 hour. And we have to test 8 hours, 16,000 at once for only one motor test. But we doing it. Did you try to use the capacitors instead of batteries? I see you have capacitors there. And what's the effect? Okay, at the Hanover Fair which been a month ago or 2, where Putin was, and there were representatives of the UralCarFactory, and CEO, and his deputy, assistant. They did not even take off those badges, yes, from exhibition. I see the 2 of them come, assistant and general manager. We are from Hanover, YC, just off the plane and here, and they brought me a batch of these capacitors. It's expensive, yes. This is $1,000. I tried it, it's an amazing thing. Well, capacitor, it is clear how it differs. I'm actually since 14-year-old an electronics enthusiast, and my radio station sounded in VHF back in the year 1958, the 1959. New Morse code, made contacts, build myself amplifiers, etc., served in Germany. Studied Canadian radar stations, and I immediately understood perfectly that the benefits are enormous. The internal resistance of a capacitor is negligible, and if it has 24 volts, it gives them all. And the batteries, even 90 amp hours, that huge. Connect it to the load 10 to 15 amps, and voltage drops, not 12 volts, but 9. So at once 3 volts disappeared, instantaneously. Here, if it shows 24 so it will show under most powerful loads, therefore efficiency is huge. Another advantage, an infinite number of charge-discharge cycles. If the battery's 500 times, it's still good. 500 the maximum. My batteries lasts 4 years. No more.